In this video, I'm going to talk through how to use the annotation tools within presentations. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just maximize or expand this arrow down in the left-hand corner. You're going to be presented with the timeline for the clip. You've also got the ability to toggle between different angles. If I select this button here, this will show any notes that are on the clip. I can trim the clip by clicking and dragging the orange dots. And then lastly, I can expose the annotation tools that you have available to you. If I go to the top right-hand corner and expand that arrow, I've got the option to apply a mask. I can edit the pitch perspective, and I've got some options around tracking. Before I dive into the annotation tools themselves, we recommend applying masking. You can do this automatically or manually. For the purposes of this video, we're going to go through the manual process. So select manual, come down to the plus icon here, and then drag your cursor onto the video. What you're going to do here is just select the playing surface, being careful not to select any of the players themselves. Once you've done this, hit the plus button again, and then you can minimize the masking menu. The next thing you're going to want to do is apply the pitch perspective. Maximize this menu. On the right hand side here, you have the ability to toggle between different sports. And again, you can apply this manually or automatically. To apply this automatically, just press auto and then press run. To do this manually, select manual and then move these nodes to the corresponding position on the video. You may need to do this with maybe 4 or 5 points before the system automatically detects the rest of the markers. When you're happy, just minimize. Moving through, you have 2 types of annotation available in presentations. You have the ability to apply freeze frames, or you could have dynamic illustrations or annotations. I'm going to focus on the freeze frame to begin with. So if I hit this pause button, at the point you are in the video, it's going to add in a freeze frame. You can change this duration here, or you can click and drag to extend the duration on the timeline. Any annotation tool you add in, as with the pitch perspective, will have their own row. Here you can determine when each of these tools moves in and out of the video. Once I've applied my freeze frame, I can then select any of these tools and they will respect the duration that I have set up for the freeze frame. So here I've added on a player icon and I can drag that under this player's feet. You can see here that the player will appear in front of the annotation due to the masking that we've set. Upon selecting an annotation, you will also see a style card will be added on the right hand side where you can edit the properties of the annotation. So I can change the height, width, I can say whether this is respecting the pitch perspective that I have set. I can change the outside of the inside color and the style of the player icon as well here. I have the ability to add in text above the player icon here, and I can choose how high that sits. Now I'm going to show you how you can track players using the annotation tools. Firstly, I'm going to grab my player icon. Once I've selected my player icon, I can position that under the player's feet. Unlike the freeze frame, you'll see the row will run until the end of the clip by default. To shorten it, click on the end, you'll get the resize arrow and drag. This will determine when the annotation is removed from view. Navigate to the tracking menu. I've got the choice of automatic or manual. We'll start with manual. Here you have the ability to define the time interval. This is the duration at which the video will jump forwards by as soon as I position the icon under the player's feet. So if I just press start, I'm going to be prompted to select where the icon goes. The video will jump forward. You can see along the bottom here that diamonds will be added. These are your keyframes. If I continue, you'll also see a red line will start to form as well. This is the path that the annotation is taking on screen. When I'm happy, I can either press stop on the right-hand side or I can press escape. You may need to resize after you've done this. If I move through to the beginning and press play, you should see that the icon will follow the player. To be more precise, I'd recommend decreasing the time interval. The second method I'm going to show you is optimized manual tagging. You'll see on some annotations that there's a small grey circle in the top right-hand corner. If you right-click on that small grey circle, it will turn red. This will enter optimized tracking mode. From here, if I now select the annotation, I'll be prompted to position the annotation under the player's feet. Upon doing so, it will jump forward by the time interval that is already set. You won't have the ability to apply or edit the style of the annotation in optimized tracking mode. If you press escape, it will crop the annotation out. Lastly, I'll show you the auto tracking. So if we just toggle auto on, here I'm going to use the player trail function for this. Please note you will need the pitch perspective to be applied for this to be available. I select my player trail here. What you'll see is a yellow box will appear. Position this around the player. In the style pane, you can also toggle the duration before and after. You will have the ability to adjust the size of this yellow box by selecting the adjust tracking box. When you're ready, press run. This process will add in keyframes for the duration that you've selected down on the annotation row. I can zoom in on the timeline using the zoom function at the bottom here. If I reposition the yellow box at any point, you'll see here I can add in keyframes manually. Equally, I click on any keyframe and hit backspace or hit the bin icon, they can be removed. This button here will remove all keyframes from this point forwards. If there is an issue with auto tracking, you do have the ability to flip into manual and to manually track to correct any errors.